All right, so September of 2012, I moved out to Irvine, California, to start grad school. And shortly after I get there, I find out that the APB has already been set out on me. So I can honestly say I wasn't really looking forward to living here for an extended period of time. And like when you feel as though something bad's gonna happen, you have that feeling at the pit of your stomach. That's basically how I felt just about every day for like the first couple months that I was there. And the people there, well, the people in the Department of Chemistry at UCI, I didn't really associate myself with anyone else, but the people in the Department of Chemistry were basically treating me the same way they were during the visitation weekend. So basically, it's a bunch of kids that I don't know trying to make me feel stupid and yada yada yada. And I'm just growing more and more numb to it. Like I think I get to a new level of just numbness, and then they just push me down even further. It's quite astonishing, actually. So I find out soon after I get there, like right before the semester starts in late September, or whenever the hell it started, that I got a game fellowship. I'm like, okay, cool. So I've been relieved of TA duties for the first quarter. And like that first quarter, it was a breeze. I took three classes. It was like Mech 1, Spec, and like organometallics. I pretty much learned all the spec and not spec. I pretty much learned all the mech and organometallic stuff as an undergrad by reading through books and stuff. And I can honestly say that there was one good thing about working at Pfizer was the practice of working through 1D and 2D spectra of complex molecules, and that definitely helped me out in spec a lot. Like I like that homework in spec really was not an issue. Like couple that with the fact that I actually took the class as an undergrad, like spec was just relative to how other people felt a cakewalk like that wasn't an issue at all for me. So I'm living easy. I'm sleeping in every day. I'm feeling greater than I thought I was gonna be, right? And then I get a little bored because the coursework really wasn't all that challenging or time consuming. So I figured I would volunteer, right? And then I was rotating to the Renowski group at the time, and then I asked Renowski about it, volunteering at Uni High in Irvine, just a couple blocks away from campus, and he gave me the contact information for one of the teachers there who was a former Renowski group member. Her name was Shannon Bunch. So I emailed Shannon Bunch, and she okay, where's that email? She sends me this email back. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so she says, "Hey Joel, thank you for your interest in tutoring chemistry students. I've talked to a couple of the administrators about what you need to do in order to get plugged in. Because you'll be working with kids, there are some forms and actually probably fingerprinting that need to be filled out. Now, I volunteered in high schools before, and I've never been fingerprinted once. And reading that, I kind of just got rubbed the wrong way. And like, who fingerprints a volunteer like that? Like, as far as I'm concerned, the only time that you really get fingerprinted is when like you get like arrested and convicted for a crime, not when you're a student and not when you're tutoring high school students. So going in, I honestly was a little like, um, yeah, I can just say flat out that I just didn't quite trust the people at Uni High based on this email from Shannon Bunch. But she says I should get in contact with the principal's secretary, Christina Sanchez, and she gave me her email address and office phone number. So I go in and meet with the high school secretary. And the first thing that I see is like this form to coach high school baseball. Now, I was a baseball player in high school, but I kind of just thought it was weird that they handed me a form to be a baseball coach instead of a tutor at first. And then, another thing that, oh yeah, boom. Okay. Yeah, don't mind that. I'm just reading through stuff while trying to talk. I don't even know why I'm doing that. So, another thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, or just, should I say, straight up upset me, was she being the principal secretary, Miss Sanchez or Mrs. Sanchez, was talking, and during the course of the meeting or conversation, she says, "I'm probably not gonna get called back because they didn't want me teaching the kids to cook crack in the kitchen." Those were almost her exact words. I don't really remember her exact words, but I remember crack in the kitchen being said. And I just have to stop and ask, like, okay, people, white, black, all of you. Well, I'm basically just talking to the white people now because this is who I really get the shit from. But why is it that it seems like no matter where I go, if you know that I'm an organic chemist, seeing that I'm a black guy, I was, a drug dealer at one point of time. I have no history of drug use or selling drugs. I was honestly wondering where she was getting this from. Now, is this just her natural prejudice towards black people, or is she hearing this from someone else? Well, the only source that she has, well, yeah, the only source of information that she has, at least the only one that I know of, was Professor Piknowski. Well, that kind of leads to the question, why would Piknowski lie about me? Well, better yet, did he lie about me? So let's assess. If he honestly thought I was a drug dealer and basically into illegal shit, why would he help me get in contact with a high school teacher regarding tutoring at a high school? Seems a little odd now, doesn't it? The only thing that I can think of to make that made sense was that he just straight up lied. You know? Because he did help me getting, well, yeah, that's the only situation, that's the only reasonable explanation that I can think of that I was just straight up lied about. But the thing is, why would he lie? Like, if he didn't want me to volunteer, why would he help me get in contact with Shannon Bunch in the first place? And now these are all things that I just don't understand. So I walk away from the meeting knowing that I wasn't going to get called back, and honestly could not be caring less. Like, I'm leaving away from the school real calm, but in my mind I'm just screaming, fuck Uni High and fuck Ritnowski too. But semester moves on, and then exam season comes around. And the weirdest thing happened. During my MEC exams, I would always get the second highest score. And the thing that makes it weird was that no one can ever tell me who got the score higher than me. In each case, I was fairly convinced that I was the one that got the highest score each time. And Van Vranken just didn't want me to let me know. Well, didn't want me to know. Why? Who knows? I know I sure as hell don't. There was also this case, well, this one instance in organometallics class where I gave an answer to a extra credit question and I got it marked wrong. And then I went over to Megan, who was the TA, and I asked her either why wasn't this right, or I questioned her about it and she could not give me a direct answer. So I honestly think I was screwed in that class, at least with regards to that one question as well. And in my other class spec, I'm fairly sure that I was screwed on the final. So in the final, there was this one series of questions, one question that involved multiple answers that involved you use the software PyMol to make a structure. Now, I've checked those structures. I checked those structures multiple times before I sent them in. But yet I still didn't get full credit. Now, did I really just not get them right, or did I get screwed over? See, I'm following the trend here. I noticed that these people really could care less about giving me what I earned or what I deserved. So, when something like that happens, when I get a question wrong that I know I should have gotten right and I can't go back and actually check and see what I got, that kind of just makes me suspicious. And it wasn't just the faculty and doing this, doing shady shit. I know there was one instance during spec where the TA, Ryan, I don't quite remember what he did, but I remember him saying that homework and spec is usually due on a certain day of the week. And I remember Ryan telling the class that homework was going to be due on a different day, right? So on the day that the homework was typically due, I saw, a small mob of people turn the homework in. I was like, okay, I'm not going to worry about it. And then when that day came, I went over to Novick and just turned it into him, and he just accepted it. Novick's a good dude. Ryan's kind of a dick, as far as I'm concerned, because I was kind of a dick enough. But Novick's a good guy. He accepted my homework, and I didn't really have a problem. Even the students in my class tried to screw me over. There was this one instance where I was talking to a guy named Gene. He was in my year, and we were talking about organometallics type stuff. And he mentioned that the orbital energy diagram for a ML6 complex wasn't going to be on the test. Now, based on his facial expression, body language, and, speech pattern, I'm thinking this guy's a fucking liar. I didn't believe him, so I ended up studying it anyway, and lo and behold, it actually was on the test. I'm happy I'm not the most gullible person in the world. So, time progresses, and then December of 2012 comes, and you find out what group you're going to be in. So here comes the chatter from everybody in my year saying that I'm not going to get into any of the groups in the department. I'm going to have to leave the department because nobody wants me, and yada, yada, yada. And then everybody gets their notification. And then sometime later, I get my notification. Now, I'm not entirely sure if they actually got their notification before me or if they're just screwing with me. But I know I got mine later on, after everyone was done talking about where they got in, and I actually got accepted to the group that I actually wanted. So I was, assigned to the Blum group, which was cool in my opinion, because that's the group that I wanted to be in. I was interested in their dual catalysis project. well, projects. Um, so that was, a nice little day for me. Nice little shine of light in the middle of darkness. By that time, like, I was really numb on the surface, but, like, inside, I was kind of breaking. Like, I even, like, wrote down and took an IQ test just to prove I was still smart and that I could still think. Like, even though I passed all my classes that quarter, I still just felt not good enough. you know, um, these people really got to me, and like they already told me that they were gonna kick me out, like by the end of my first year. So over the summer, I was researching things that I think I would like to do for a living. I was planning on going back to school after my first year. Majoring in something totally different and just trying to get a job out of undergrad. But now I'm thinking that even if they don't kick me out, because like I'm thinking they're not gonna kick me out because they're probably waiting on me to like fail out, which really wasn't gonna happen. Um, so I'm thinking either they're gonna set me up to get kicked out, or like just wait for me to fail out, which again wasn't gonna happen. So like even if I didn't fail out or they didn't like set me up to get kicked out, I was I was almost dead set on completely starting over in an entirely new field. You know, I honestly think that since I've worked this hard throughout my undergraduate career, that I shouldn't end up being in a job that I'm like I can do, but I just don't like. I've seen that from family members. Like my aunt, she was, I forgot what she was, but she was good enough at her job, and she got paid good money for it. Like, if memory serves me correctly, she was making six figures, but she fucking hated her job. It literally made her sick, and she did it up to the day that she got laid off by, I think it was Ameritech. No, she seems to be a little bit happier. She's a high school teacher now. But, moving on. Semester ends. I found out I passed all my classes. And I got, like, annoyed with the other first years to the point that I decided to take 4 classes while TAing. Now, you're not supposed to take more than 3. At least that's what they recommend. But I ended up taking 4. Um, and that also would have made me like the first grad student to ever get done with all the coursework in 2 quarters instead of 3 or 4. So I'm thinking, all right, cool. Because I figure in the spring I can always be like, okay, now I don't have to deal with any of these other students. I can just do research and that'll be it.